It is not a poetic idea. It is not a motivational phrase. It is law. Every skyscraper that scrapes the clouds, every symphony that echoes through time, every revolution that reshaped the world began first as a thought, a formless image, a whisper in the mind of someone bold enough to believe. The tragedy is not that most people fail. The tragedy is that most never dare to think. They live life reacting to conditions, not realizing the power that created the conditions was always within their control. Thought is the genesis of all reality. It is the spark before the flame, the blueprint before the building, the unseen substance that bends the physical world into shape. You can curse it, ignore it, or doubt it, but it works with or without your permission. When I first wrote Think and Grow Rich, I didn't write it for the fortunate. I wrote it for the dreamer, the doer, the soul weary of excuses. I wrote it for you. I spent 25 years studying the most powerful minds of the 20th century, men who shaped empires, men who bent history. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. They were not born special, but they thought differently. They saw wealth in the invisible, where others saw only failure. They believed what they held in their mind was more real than the world they saw around them. And because of that, reality bent. You are not separate from these minds. You are not less intelligent, less capable, or less worthy. The only thing that separates greatness from mediocrity is clarity of thought and depth of belief. If you do not believe it, you will never act. If you do not act, you will never see. And if you never see, you will call it luck. You will say some have it and some don't, and you'll be wrong. Because the truth is this: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But that belief cannot be hollow. It cannot be convenient. It must be forged in fire, held with the grip of a man drowning who will not let go of the rope. Belief is not soft. Belief is fierce. I want you to imagine something now, not later, now. Imagine the life you desire most. Do not shrink it to fit your current circumstances. Do not sand down the edges to make it more believable. Paint it in its full size, in full color, with every detail vivid in your mind. See the home. See the work. See the people. See the power you walk with, the voice you speak with, the results you create. Feel it. Hold that image, because that image is not fiction. That is your instruction. Your soul is trying to speak, but the world taught you to ignore it. They told you to be realistic, and you listened. But realistic men build nothing. Realistic men invent nothing. Realistic men never change the world. Only those with the audacity to trust the unseen, to trust the mind over the moment, write history. The men I studied were not fearless. They were not without doubt, but they knew one truth deeper than all others. The mind is the workshop of creation. You don't wait for opportunity. You summon it, you craft it, and you begin with nothing more than a thought. Henry Ford was laughed at when he said he would build a car for the common man. It can't be done, they said. You need horses, they said. He didn't argue. He held his vision like a fire in the cold, and soon the world melted to match the image in his mind. Edison failed 10,000 times in pursuit of the light bulb. Most would have called it madness. But to Edison, each failure was proof that the vision still lived. The outside world had not caught up to his thought yet, but it would, and it did. These men didn't manifest dreams with magic. They married vision with definiteness of purpose. They replaced wishes with decisions, vague hopes with focused action. They knew what they wanted. They burned the bridges behind them. And the universe, yes, the universe yielded. You don't need to be rich to begin. You don't need to be famous. You don't need perfect timing or perfect conditions. You need only this: a definite desire, clearly imagined, emotionally believed, relentlessly pursued. That is the first law of achievement. Not hard work, not sacrifice, not even education. Those may be tools, but they are not causes. The cause, the first cause, is always thought. The mind, my friend, is your kingdom, your greatest asset, or your cruelest prison. What you hold in it will hold you. Now listen closely, for this is not metaphor. This is instruction, a map. What you repeatedly impress upon the mind, you program into your behavior, and what you repeatedly do, you become. Success is not owned by the chosen. It is earned by the deliberate. You are more powerful than you know, but you have been distracted, conditioned to follow, trained to wait for permission, and all the while the door has stood open. The question is no longer can you have it. The question is will you claim it? And to do that you must first master the art of vision, of mental clarity, of unwavering belief in the invisible. Hold that thought. Hold it so tightly that the world cannot shake it loose. Because if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. If the image in your mind is weak, the world will overpower it. It will laugh at it, mock it, crush it under the weight of fear, doubt, and distraction. But if the image in your mind is strong, clear, detailed, emotional, it becomes a force, a magnet, and the world in time must shape itself around that force. This is not a hopeful theory. It is not a New Age slogan. It is the machinery of creation itself. The tragedy of most lives is not that they aim too high and miss. It is that they aim too low and hit. They choose safety over desire, convenience over calling. And so they trade their greatness for comfort and never know what could have been. They call it being practical. I call it betrayal. You were not made to blend in. You were made to build, to create, to command. But you cannot command anything you do not first imagine. The man who builds empires begins not with bricks, but with belief, and belief begins with choice, a decision, the decision to see what others refuse to see. You may say, but I don't know how. Good, you don't need to know how. You only need to know what. The how comes to those who do not quit on the what. Life rewards clarity, not confusion. Decision, not doubt. When I interviewed Andrew Carnegie, he told me something that shook the very foundation of my being. He said, Napoleon, any man who knows what he wants and is willing to pay the price can have it. I pressed him, what about talent? What about intelligence? What about connections? He smiled and said, those are tools. They help, but they are not the source. The source is desire. Burning, unrelenting desire. Desire is not a wish. It is not a passing interest. It is obsession. It is vision plus emotion, held long enough that no obstacle survives. You see, the mind is not neutral. It is not passive. It is fertile ground. It will grow whatever you plant in it, whether that be weeds or wheat, fear or faith, excuses or results. Most plant doubt, then wonder why their life is barren. You must guard your mind as a warrior guards the gates of a kingdom. You must decide what enters, what stays, and what dies. I have seen men of average intelligence rise to unimaginable heights because they had one thing others lacked, a dominant thought backed by relentless belief. And I have seen men of great talent rot in mediocrity because they refused to take control of their own minds. They waited, they doubted, they hesitated, and life passed them by. If you continue to wait until you're ready, you will wait forever. Readiness is a lie. There is only the vision and the courage to act before the world agrees with you, because the world will never agree until you've already proven it right. Let me speak to the excuses now. The seductive lies that dress themselves as logic. You say, I don't have time. No, you have time for what you prioritize. You have time for what matters. And if your dream does not matter more than your distractions, it will die. You say, I don't have money. Then you have a reason to build, a reason to become resourceful. Lack is not a curse. It is a challenge, a test, to see how bad you want it. You say, I've failed before. Good. That means you've started. That means you're ahead of most. Failure is not the enemy. Failure is the training ground of visionaries. The man who fears failure will never know victory, but the man who uses failure, who studies it, grows from it, absorbs it like fuel, becomes unstoppable. Do you hear me? Unstoppable. You were not born to be average. You were not born to wake up tired, drag through life and settle. Somewhere inside you, you know this. You feel it when the world goes quiet. You hear it in the back of your mind. That voice, that whisper, the one that says there is more, and there is, but you cannot wait for permission. The dream will not knock twice. You must meet it halfway. You must demand it with everything inside you. Not once, not occasionally, but every single day. The world does not move for the man who tries. It moves for the man who decides. So decide. Decide now. Who will you be? What will you stand for? What will you no longer tolerate? Because the moment you decide, the universe begins to conspire. Ideas find you. People appear. Doors open. Circumstances shift. And it all begins with a single image, held with unbreakable faith. Faith not in luck, not in fate, but in your own ability to create. This is not fantasy. This is law. The man who holds poverty in his mind attracts poverty in his life. The man who holds wealth sees it before it exists, and so it comes, not by magic, but by movement, by action fueled by belief. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. If you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Understand this, your mind does not care what you plant. It will return to you what you sow. Plant fear, and you will harvest hesitation. Plant doubt, and you will reap failure. But plant faith. Plant a crystal clear image of your desire, held with emotion, spoken with conviction, pursued with intensity, and the harvest will astonish you. This is why I taught the principle of autosuggestion, because repetition is the language of the subconscious, and the subconscious mind, the silent engine beneath your waking thoughts, accepts what you feed it, good or bad, truth or lie. Every time you speak, you program. Every time you think, you instruct. Your words are not harmless. They are builders. They are blueprints. And most people use them like wrecking balls. They say, I could never do that. And they're right, not because it's true, but because they decided it was. They say, I'm not the kind of person who... And in that moment they weld shut the very door that would lead them to a new life. But the one who speaks with intention, the one who declares not what is, but what shall be, begins to turn the wheel of creation, slowly at first, then faster, then with a force that cannot be denied. I will tell you what I told thousands in my lifetime. You must speak your desire aloud with emotion every single day, not as a chant, not as a ritual, but as a declaration of truth yet to be made visible. Write your definite purpose. Read it morning and night. Infuse it with belief. Speak it with the fire of one who knows it is already on the way, because that is the great secret. The mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you can see it with enough clarity, feel it with enough power, and believe it with enough intensity, it becomes real. Not all at once, but piece by piece, thought by thought, action by action. Imagination, you see, is not child's play. It is God's preview of creation. It is the architect's pencil, the sculptor's clay, the first movement of destiny, and yet most waste it. They use it to envision what they fear instead of what they desire. They imagine worst-case scenarios, not best-case outcomes. They walk through life rehearsing failure, and so they perform it. You must reverse this. You must become the director of your own mental theater. You must rehearse your triumph, not your tragedy. You must walk through your mind like a general surveys his kingdom. No more random thinking, no more mental drifting. You are at war for your own life, and the battlefield is within. Discipline your thoughts. Command your attention. Build in your mind what you would build in your world. When the image is strong enough, belief follows. And where belief goes, action flows. And where action flows, results erupt. But it must be vivid. It must be daily. It must be emotional. Because emotion is the ignition. Thought is the spark. But emotion, that is the flame. You must feel your vision, not just think it. You must see yourself already in possession of the thing you desire. You must feel the pride, the joy, the confidence. You must become it internally, before the world makes it visible. This is not delusion. This is discipline. This is how all great things are born. Do not wait for proof before you believe. Believe and proof will come. Not always in your timing, not always in the way you expect, but it will come. Because faith, when married to action, commands reality. Think back to the men who changed history. They were not reacting to the world. They were imposing their vision upon it. They were builders of mind first. and builders of matter second. Tesla saw energy flowing through the sky, while others were still lighting candles. The Wright brothers saw wings in the air when the world called them mad. Mandela saw freedom from a prison cell. Vision is not luxury. It is necessity. And you, if you are to rise, must become a visionary in your own life. Not a dreamer who wishes, but a visionary who decides. It begins with desire. It is carried by belief. And it is completed through persistent action, no matter the obstacles. Because the dream is not enough. The thought is not enough. It must be followed by movement. And that movement must not stop when you are tired, or afraid, or uncertain. It must continue because you have decided, and the decision has no reverse. You do not stop because it is hard. You go because it is yours. This is how greatness is born, not through ease but through fire, not through chance but through choice. So choose. Choose now. What will you hold in your mind? Because that and that alone determines what you will hold in your hand. Most people never claim their destiny because they do not decide. They wait. They hesitate. They ask the world for signs, for approval, for safety. But the world gives none of those. Not in the beginning. You are not rewarded for caution. You are rewarded for commitment. And commitment begins with decision. A real decision. One from which there is no turning back. One that cuts off all other possibilities. That word decision comes from the Latin decider. It means to cut off. You must cut off escape. Cut off doubt. Cut off retreat. Until you do, your dream is a fantasy, a hobby, a decoration in your mind. But the moment you decide, you turn the invisible into something real. You shift the weight of your soul behind one aim, and that power, when sustained, becomes unbreakable. Now hear this. The world will not respond to you immediately. It will test you first. You will feel resistance. Circumstances will push back. People will misunderstand you. You will question yourself. That is not a sign to stop. That is the initiation. Every man or woman who ever rose from obscurity to greatness passed through the same fire. They walked through failure. They endured criticism. They bled and they kept going because they knew the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret, that is eternal. So if you are waiting for ease, you are not ready. But if you are ready to pay the price with your time, your focus, your energy, your soul, then you are ready to rise. Persistence, my friend, is more powerful than genius, more valuable than luck, more dependable than talent. It is the ability to keep moving forward after the emotion is gone, after the applause has stopped, after the results are delayed. Can you keep working the vision when the world is silent? Can you keep speaking your desire when no one believes you? Can you keep building brick by brick when the outcome is uncertain? If you can do that, you have already won. Because most won't. They want quick. They want easy. They want validation now. And so they quit before the miracle. But you are not like most. You feel it, don't you? That edge inside you. That part that cannot rest with mediocrity. That fire faint, maybe, but still alive. That is your greatness. That is the real you, and it will not be silenced by fear, not if you keep feeding it. So feed it with purpose, feed it with focus, with your vision, your faith, your action. You must own your time, you must own your mornings, you must own your thoughts, because you are in a battle, and the battlefield is invisible. It is the space between your ears, and every day you are either winning or losing. No neutral ground, no days off. You must wake up with intention. You must remind yourself daily, why am I doing this? What am I building? Who must I become? And then you act, not perfectly, but powerfully, because action, even imperfect action, is the evidence of belief, and belief, when proven through action, begins to shape your identity. You no longer say, I want to be. You become. You are. You must begin to speak the truth of your future as if it were already here. I am building an empire. I am a leader of impact. I am wealth in motion. I am the cause, not the effect. You say these things not to convince the world, but to rewire your own mind. Because until your self-image aligns with your vision, you will sabotage yourself every time. This is the missing key for most. They try to act rich while still thinking poor. They try to speak confidence while still thinking doubt. They try to push forward with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. No more. You must align. Thought, word, action, identity. The moment you see yourself differently, everything begins to shift, not instantly, but inevitably, and that is the power you've had all along. Not outside you, within you. The power to choose your thoughts, the power to decide your future, the power to act in alignment with your vision before you have any evidence. That, my friend, is faith. And faith, when placed in yourself, is the most powerful force on earth. It is the seed from which all miracles grow. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You need only climb the first step, with fire in your eyes and conviction in your soul. And if you fall, good, get up faster. Rise harder. Let your failures become fuel. The world will not give you what you ask for. It will give you what you demand. With your actions, your persistence, and your refusal to surrender. That is what the greats understand. That is what you must claim. Because if you can hold it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. Responsibility. That is the threshold of greatness. Not talent, not luck. Responsibility. Until you take full, absolute, unapologetic ownership of your life, nothing changes. You must reach a point where you no longer blame circumstances, no longer curse your upbringing, no longer hand your power to politics, to parents, to partners, or to the past. You must say with burning clarity, I am responsible for all of it, not because you caused it, but because only you can change it. And when you accept that, you become powerful beyond measure. The man who owns his results can change them. The man who blames them, he stays stuck, spinning in circles, shouting at shadows. You are not a victim of life. You are the architect of it. And the architect does not complain about the weather. He builds a stronger structure. So build yourself. The most important project you will ever undertake is not your business, not your bank account, not your career. It is you. You must become the kind of person who can carry the weight of the dream you desire. It is not enough to want more. You must become more, because the life you dream of does not belong to the version of you who procrastinates, who doubts, who breaks promises to themselves. That life belongs to a higher version, and your job is to rise into it. So do not ask, what do I need to do? Ask, who do I need to become? What habits must you build? What standards must you raise? What relationships must you cut? What environments must you escape? You cannot become a lion while living in a den of sheep. Environment is not neutral. It either lifts you or limits you. The people around you are not just company. They are currents. They are pulling you forward or pulling you under. And if they are not aligned with your vision, then your loyalty to them becomes disloyalty to your destiny. This is hard truth, but truth nonetheless. Some people you love will not come with you. They will not understand. They will question your hunger. They will call your discipline obsession. They will whisper doubt in the name of protection. But you must choose your comfort zone or your calling, because you cannot have both. You see, the dream does not just test your persistence. It tests your identity. It asks, are you serious? Are you willing to pay the price? Will you change to match the life you say you want? And you must answer not with words, but with actions. Not once, not twice, but daily. This is the path. No shortcuts, no loopholes, no lottery tickets. Just you, your will, your mind, and the relentless pursuit of the vision that chose you. Because that's what it is, a calling. The dream you hold, the image you see when the world goes quiet. It's not random. It is a glimpse of what is possible. But possibility only becomes reality through persistence. That means showing up when you're tired, studying when others sleep, practicing when no one is watching. It means building skill while others scroll, building discipline while others drift. You don't get what you want. You get what you earn. And what you earn depends on who you become. So every decision, every small private moment is a vote for the person you wish to become, or the person you are trying to leave behind. There is no neutral, no standing still. You are becoming stronger or weaker, bolder or smaller, closer or further. So choose. Choose growth over gossip. Choose creation over consumption. Choose discipline over desire, because the future is not written in the stars. It is written in your standards. What you settle for, you will live with. Raise the bar, not someday, not when it's convenient, now, because your destiny is waiting, but it will not wait forever. This is your season, your hour, your mountain to climb, and the tools are already inside you. Vision, decision, persistence, responsibility. These are the building blocks of greatness. These are the laws behind every empire, every fortune, every revolution of spirit and substance, and they are available to you, but only if you claim them, because no one is coming to save you. You are not waiting on a savior. You are the one. And when you understand that, not just intellectually, but in your bones, you will stop hesitating, stop shrinking, stop begging the world for permission. You will stand up. You will speak life. You will walk forward with the energy of destiny behind you. And every day, brick by brick, you will build the life that once lived only in your mind, until one day you look down, and there it is, in your hand. Time is the one resource you can never get back, and yet it is the one people waste most. They speak of goals and then scroll for hours. They dream of freedom but stay enslaved to habits that kill it. They wait and wait, telling themselves they're preparing, that they'll start next week, next month, next year. Let me speak plainly. Next is a lie. There is no perfect moment coming. There is no magical day when everything aligns and the world opens its arms to your ambition. You either begin now or you begin never, because delay is death to the dream. Every second you postpone, you teach your mind that your vision is negotiable, that your future can wait, that the life you desire is a hobby, not a mission. But missions don't wait. Warriors don't delay. The men and women who shape the world, who leave legacies, who change generations, they move now, not because they're fearless, but because they've chosen courage over comfort. And courage, my friend, is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. You feel it and you move anyway, because you have decided that your vision is worth more than your excuses. This is what separates the leaders from the followers, the creators from the consumers, the legends from the forgotten. They do not wait to be ready. They act themselves into readiness, and when they fall, they get up faster, smarter, hungrier, because they are not tied to the outcome. They are married to the process. That is what greatness demands. Not perfection, but consistency. You will fail. Expect it. You will feel doubt. Welcome it. You will want to quit. Fight it, because the breakthrough always hides behind resistance, always, and most will never see it, because they surrender an inch too soon. But not you. You're still here. You're still listening, still breathing fire, still holding the vision. That means your heart still beats for more, so protect it. Don't let the noise of the world drown the whisper of your calling. Don't trade your birthright for likes, for comfort, for temporary praise. This journey you're on, it's not about applause. It's about becoming the kind of person who looks in the mirror and respects what they see. It's about integrity, about honor, about doing what you said you'd do even when no one is watching, because that is where confidence is born, not from compliments, but from competence, from the quiet moments where you showed up for yourself, when you trained while tired, focused while frustrated, persisted while broke. Those moments, they are bricks in the foundation of the life you're building, and every day you delay, the cost compounds, not just in results, but in your identity, because you begin to believe the lie that maybe it's not for me, and that lie is the slow death of your soul. Reject it, burn it, replace it with truth, the truth that you were designed for greatness, that you were born to build, to rise, to conquer the small self, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You don't rise because it feels good. You rise because staying where you are is no longer an option, because mediocrity has become unbearable, because average has become a cage, and you're ready to break out. So break. Shatter the walls. Rip the excuses from your mouth. Tear the doubt from your mind. You have played small for too long. You've tiptoed around your potential. You've dimmed your light to fit in with people who fear their own. No more. This is your awakening, not with noise but with clarity. You are not here to survive. You are here to thrive, not to imitate, but to initiate, to create, to lead, to rise. And it begins not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but now. Now is the moment you shift. Now is the moment you choose a new standard. Now is the moment you stop waiting and start walking. Because if you can hold it in your mind, if you can feel it, see it, declare it with your whole being, then it is already yours. You must only move to meet it, and you will, because you are done wishing. You are done waiting. You are done playing small. You are ready, and the world is waiting to see what happens when you finally show up as who you truly are. Understand this. Success is never a question of chance. It is always a question of choice, and that choice is made not once, but every single day. The choice to think bigger when doubt whispers small. The choice to move forward when fear screams, stay still. The choice to show up when no one claps, when no one calls, when no one cares except you. Because success is not built in moments of glory. It is forged in moments of silence. The silence of early mornings, the silence of late nights, the silence between setbacks and comebacks. And in that silence, you must command your mind. You must master it, for your mind is both a servant and a saboteur. Left unchecked, it will feed you poison. Stories of failure, whispers of weakness, illusions of limitation. But trained with clarity, repetition, and ruthless focus, it becomes the engine of miracles. So guard your thoughts like a fortress. Do not entertain doubt. Do not feed fear. Do not invite defeat into your inner sanctuary. Instead, flood your mind with vision. Saturate it with possibility. Rewire it with truth. I am capable. I am powerful. I am inevitable. Because what you consistently think, you eventually become. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the culmination of the thoughts you choose to repeat, the standards you refuse to lower, the actions you insist on taking. So take them. Let the world call you obsessed. Let them mock your pace, your rituals, your audacity. Obsession is what transforms potential into power. While they sleep, you sharpen. While they distract, you dig. While they hesitate, you build. And yes, it will be lonely. Elevation always is. But isolation is a test of readiness. The universe will pull you away from the crowd so you can finally hear yourself, so you can remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You were not born to blend in. You were born to break through, to defy the rules built by the timid, to rewrite your story, page by page, decision by decision, action by action. And yes, there will be resistance. You will be tempted to go back, to play safe, to shrink. But remember, comfort is a cage, and it is lined with velvet, but it is still a cage. And the longer you stay there, the more you forget what freedom feels like. So burn the cage. Step into the unknown. Step into your becoming. That's where greatness lives. Not in what you know, but in what you dare to pursue, in what you dare to endure. Pain, yes, setbacks, guaranteed. But none of that will matter if you decide that nothing will stop you, because adversity is not the enemy. It is the proving ground. You don't grow despite resistance. You grow because of it. Muscles only grow under tension. Diamonds only form under pressure. Legends are only born in fire. So do not pray for ease. Pray for strength. Do not wish for less challenge. Wish for greater capacity. Because when you stop avoiding the hard things and start embracing them, you begin to unlock the version of you that was waiting on the other side. That version is already inside you. It's not in a book, not in a guru, not in some secret formula. It's in you, but you must dig it out with your discipline, with your habits, with your daily defiance of who you used to be. You must become unreasonable, unreasonable in your standards, unreasonable in your expectations, unreasonable in your hunger. The reasonable man adapts to the world, but the unreasonable one, he demands that the world adapt to him, and that man changes the world. Be him, be her, be that force, the one that does not wait for opportunities, but creates them, the one that does not flinch at fear, but feeds on it, the one that is not slowed by setbacks, but strengthened by them. This is who you were meant to be, not a spectator, not a dreamer, but a doer, a mover of mountains, a builder of empires, a living, breathing example of what happens when one human decides they are done being average. Because if you can hold it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand, not through luck, not through wishing, but through will. The greatest secret of achievement is not strategy. It is alignment. When your thoughts, your words, your beliefs, and your actions move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. Most people never reach their potential because they live in conflict with themselves. They say they want success, but their habits scream comfort. They speak of dreams, but act in fear. They visualize wealth, yet think in lack. That inner war between desire and belief is the true cause of failure. And until it ends, nothing outside will change. You must become whole. You must align the inside before the outside can reflect your vision. You must believe that you are worthy of the life you want, not someday, but now, because your mind is not a servant to truth. It is a servant to belief. If you believe you are unworthy, you will sabotage every opportunity. If you believe success is for others, you will reject it when it knocks. If you believe you are doomed to repeat your past, then even victory will taste like guilt. So change the belief. Rewrite the code, not with empty affirmations, but with proof, with action. Every day you keep your promise to yourself. You rewrite the narrative. Every day you do what you said you'd do. You chip away at the lie that says, I can't, because confidence is not given. It is earned through discipline, through follow-through, through the quiet victories that no one claps for, but that change everything. And soon you no longer need to convince yourself you're powerful. You know it. You feel it. You walk into a room and the energy shifts, not because you shout, but because you no longer carry doubt. Because certainty is silent. It moves different. It doesn't chase, it draws. It doesn't prove, it executes. And that's who you must become. A force of clarity in a world addicted to confusion. A master of decision in a time where people drown in options. You must know who you are, what you want, why it matters. Because people follow clarity. The world rewards decisiveness. Money, influence, opportunity. They do not go to the most talented. They go to the most certain. And certainty comes from identity. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So if you want wealth, become someone who creates value. If you want freedom, become someone who refuses the chains of excuse. If you want greatness, become someone who wakes up each day and demands it of themselves. Because your identity is not fixed. It is forged, moment by moment, choice by choice, repetition by repetition. Every time you act in alignment with the highest version of you, you become that version. Every time you don't, you delay it. And time is not waiting. There is a clock on your potential. There are things you are meant to build, lives you are meant to impact, a legacy you are meant to leave. But none of that will happen until you say no more lies, no more playing small, no more negotiating with mediocrity. You must decide. Burn the old identity. Kill it off. The victim, the procrastinator, the doubter, the overthinker. They don't get to come with you. This next level of life requires a new operating system, not patched, rewritten. And yes, it will cost you. Old habits, old stories, old friends. But what you gain is everything. Power, peace, purpose, and the knowledge that you built this, that you created this, that you became the kind of person who doesn't just imagine the life they want, they claim it, not with arrogance, but with certainty, not with noise, but with consistency. Because that is the final law. Consistency is the multiplier of success, not intensity, not emotion, consistency. A drop of water repeated long enough will carve stone. You must become that drop, relentless, predictable, unstoppable, no matter the mood, no matter the weather, no matter who's watching or not. This is not about hype, it's about standards. It's about the standard you hold yourself to when no one else is around. The standard that whispers, we do not skip, we do not slack, we do not shrink, because this is bigger than goals. This is who you are now. This is your new identity. Not built in a day, but built daily, until the world you once imagined now lives in your hands. You are always creating, even in your passivity, even in your hesitation, even in your self-doubt. You are sculpting reality brick by brick, belief by belief, word by word. The question is not if you're creating, the question is what? Are you building a future or a prison? Are you constructing possibility or reinforcing limitation? Most people build cages. They don't realize it. They believe they're being realistic. They call it being practical. But what they're really doing is shrinking their world to match their fears. They talk themselves out of growth. They delay decisions until opportunity disappears. They pretend they're waiting on signs, when in truth they're waiting on permission, but no permission is coming, because no one can give you what you won't give yourself. Freedom begins with self-authority. The moment you say, I am done waiting, I choose to move, I choose to lead, I choose to take control. That is the moment everything changes. Because once you reclaim authorship of your life, you stop reacting and you start creating. You stop making excuses and you start making moves. And that shift from passive to powerful is the foundation of transformation. But hear this, the external world will resist your internal awakening because your growth will disturb their comfort. Your elevation will remind them of their stagnation. Your courage will confront their complacency. Let them be uncomfortable. You're not here to make people feel safe. You're here to make your vision real. And that will require you to separate from old environments, from lazy conversations, from energy that no longer serves your purpose, not out of pride, but out of protection, because your energy is your greatest asset. Where it flows, your life follows. So guard it fiercely. Audit what you consume. Audit who you surround yourself with, because proximity is power, and mediocrity is contagious. Surround yourself with people who pull you forward, with voices that sharpen your edge, not dull it, with energy that says more is possible. Let's go further, because iron sharpens iron, but paper dulls steel. And you were not made to be dull. You were made to cut through doubt, through resistance, through the noise of the world that says, be like everyone else. No, be you, fully, boldly, without apology. Not the watered-down version, not the censored version, the unleashed version, the one who remembers who they were before the world told them to shrink, the one who still sees visions in vivid color when others only see grayscale, the one who doesn't just talk about potential, but dares to activate it. That version of you is not some distant fantasy. It's who you are when you drop the mask, when you drop the fear, when you stop editing yourself for acceptance and start expressing yourself for impact. Because when you show up as you fully, you become magnetic. You become undeniable. Not because you fit the mold, but because you shattered it. You chose to stop performing for the world and start performing for your purpose. And the world responds to that. People feel it. They trust it. They follow it. Because realness is rare. Conviction is rare. Certainty is rare. And you have it. It may be buried. It may be bruised. But it's there. You must only remember. Remember who you were before fear took the wheel. Before failure made you hesitate. Before society sold you the lie that safety was success. Safety is not success. Safety is stagnation, dressed in comfort. And comfort is not your friend. Comfort will seduce you with soft promises and rob you blind. Comfort will kill your ambition with a smile. But you were built for more. You were built for impact. And impact doesn't come from staying comfortable. It comes from becoming capable, from sharpening your edge, from stepping into the ring with life and saying, whatever you throw at me, I will rise. That is the decision. To rise, not because you feel ready, but because you refuse to stay down, because you refuse to die with your greatness still inside you, because you know with every fiber of your being that if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.